Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Off Air Podcast. I'm Slater. That's Craig. He's our internet deep dive culture war expert.
Something like that.
That's right, everybody. Very special guest today. I want to welcome to the show Harmony Edwards-Persip.
Glad
Harmony
to be here.
was a contestant from America's Next Top Model Cycle 20 back in 2013. She is now a successful realtor and mom. That show obviously was huge, created by Tyra Banks back in 2003. Ran for 24 cycles. Netflix just dropped a documentary a few months ago called Reality Check, Inside America's Top Model. And Harmony just had to watch that because you were just so close to it. So take us back to when you decided to run to be a contestant on that show, and what did that look like and stuff?
So I started watching America's Next Top Model. I was in 7th grade at St. Mark's Middle School and obsessively watching the show. And eventually when I turned 18, that was the Cycle 20, their casting came to the Capital Region. I want to say it was like February of 2013 that they were, 2012 that they were there. Yeah, it was February of 2012. So I go on, go drive out to the Capital Region. We're at one of the malls on Wolf Road in Albany, and there's over 1,000 people there. So, we wait there all day in this long line and get to do the casting call. So that was like a moment that I had waited for 10 years, 10, 11 years. I feel like, as I watched the show grow and all the different contestants.
What was the audition like?
The audition was, it was packed. It was crowded.
Yeah.
And it was fast paced. So they would have like 4 or 5 of us on the stage at the same time. And you were in front of like a camera and also a few judges, but they were only like watching you, right? But you're also next to other people that are also monologuing at the same time as you. So like I'm doing a monologue looking at the camera and another girl's next to me doing her own monologue, also looking at the camera.
Can you hear her while you're trying to do it?
Yeah,
So,
and then you
it's like,
see all of these people. There's like so many people around you because the stage is like in the middle of this room, and you see all of the line of people coming in to do the casting.
Yeah.
It's
were you
ridiculous.
nervous or?
Was I nervous? Yeah, I was nervous.
Yeah.
But I did sports, so I always knew how to like convert my nerves into being like excited. So I was more excited. I was nervous.
Is that world like hostile? Like, are the other girls mean to you? Are they like supportive? Are they like trying to be your friends?
Right. Mean Girls?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a mix.
Yeah.
Now, you said monologue. What are the judges like looking for in your monologue? Are you just talking about like yourself and what you can bring?
No, I did a monologue from Clueless. I can't remember it, but that's when I learned how to
Stacey
say
Dash?
inevitably. I learned how to say inevitably in that monologue.
Yeah. Like, how long did you have to speak for?
It was like a 2-minute monologue, like a clip of a scene from a movie that you
Great
have
movie.
to do, like the speaking portion of it.
Yeah. And what are they judging you on?
I think memorization, the acting, the way you look, the way you're standing. And then we had to walk too. So we walked in our little section of that like black box, I would say. They had it like taped off. And we had to do our little walk in our heels, forward and then back and then do the monologue.
So you're tall.
Yes.
You're super tall. Like, how tall, right?
5'10".
Now, did anyone ever tell you in your life, oh, you'd be like, that's like model material, or like, did that help your chances, or were they?
Yeah.
I don't want me to like Barbara Walters. You'd be like, what's your dimensions, Harmony?
Like that's been my life always, right?
Yeah, of course,
Since I was like a little girl, they're like, you're tall, you're thin, you should be a model.
Yeah.
And then even now today, like I'm walking and people are like, are you a model? Are you a model? Everywhere I go. And I'm like,
I mean, you
"Yes,
do look like
I
a
am."
model. Like when you came in, like we've never met before, but like when you came in, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you look like a model.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
So, yeah, I've got that all my life. I've gotten that, like, you're really tall. It's basketball or modeling. Like, do you play basketball or are you a model? I like both.
This person's got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
You either play basketball or you're a model, right? Yeah. So when do you get the call that they want you as a contestant on America's Next Top Model?
I don't remember getting that call. I want to say it was like an email or something that my mom got. Because like I remember my mom telling me like, okay, now we have to do another video. And it was like a video, that's when they were like asking me to upload a video about myself. And I had to talk about myself, my goals, why I thought I would be a good fit for America's Next Top Model. And then we submitted that video. And I don't remember if like that part of like that memory is gone. I don't know if it was a phone call or if it was an email or a letter in the mail, but I think it was an email that my mom got. And
was she like your representation at the time, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Because you're 18, right? So you could have just kind of done it all on your own too. But she was involved. And,
She was very involved.
yeah. Was she passionate about it for you too?
She's always been passionate about whatever
you want.
I want to
do.
do.
I was gonna say, did she have modeling stuff in her past, or?
Yes and no, I think. Yeah. So she did do some modeling like younger, but not as driven for it, right?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like fun. Like maybe like her friend's a photographer, so she goes and does some photo shoots
Yeah,
for her
okay.
friends.
Cool.
So how far on, like, did you make it? Like, how many do they choose to go on the actual show?
So they drop it down to the top 50. And then after the top 50, you have like a questionnaire and a CORI check. That's when you get to go to the top 25. And the top 25 is who's placed in the house. So I got into the top 50 and then they did a CORI check and I had an open case at the time. So they just cut me there.
Is that
So that's-
heartbreaking when that happens?
Oh my God, yeah.
It was
that
heartbreaking.
sucks. Especially for a speeding ticket. I mean, I think that's terrible.
Exactly. I was like, come on.
I mean, what's up? Yeah, I mean, I know. Yeah, we don't want to get into the details of the case, but
Yeah. So it was the
or do you? I don't know.
I won't go into the all the details of the case,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it was definitely like anger management issues
Yeah,
that reflected in that. So they were right in cutting me. Now that I'm older, I agree with it. And actually at the time I understood why I was cut. It's not, I was regretful of the mistakes that I made to get cut, but I knew why I wasn't like, oh man, Tyra, I hate you. You didn't pick me because of this
Did that
case.
kinda-
you bitch, you cut me. You should have checked my CORI before. That's how it goes. Yeah, right. You don't get to choose me and then say, oh, we're gonna run a quick CORI.
Exactly.
All right, you know I'm a fighter. All right, so let's.
Does that change the trajectory of what you're doing? Like, does that make you like look back at the things you're doing and say like, you know, I really do want to be a model? Does that kind of change your trajectory and how you go from there now getting cut?
Yes.
Yeah.
So immediately when I got cut, you fall into that thing of like, okay, I can't do this thing, right? So I was like, oh, I'm not going to do modeling. I'm going to explore other things. I got immediately into sales. So I've always been, doing sales. Throughout the years, though, consistently, I have engaged with photographers and I'll like volunteer my time for like fashion shows for the like local designers and things in the area. When I lived in Florida, I reached out to a bunch of like small time photographers and would like offer my services for free. Like I'll model for you and you take the pictures and keep the pictures and do whatever, you want to do with them. So I was still modeling throughout the years, but not that I lost my passion for it that I had going into it.
Yeah.
All right, so now the documentary comes out on Netflix, and you have to see it. You watch it,
Yes.
and then you put a video out on social media, and we're going to play that video right now.
All right, let's do
here
it.
is. Here's the video from Harmony Edwards-Persip.
I walked straight into that casting, like really positive, really thinking, I'm going to win this. I'm going to win this cycle. I'm going to be America's Next Top Model. And then I got cut and I was so devastated. And it did change a lot for me in my life because I realized I had to stop making those decisions to get to where I wanted to be. But I would have walked into that environment with literally zero protection besides, okay? So instead I bought a one-way ticket like 3 or 4 years later to Florida. And I just left. I left the bad decisions. I left, I was still in survival mode. But that's when I started to really pull myself up from rock bottom. So that's a real ass story, but that was the beginning for me. It wasn't the end. And that's why I wanted to come on here and just ramble about it.
All right, so before we get into what happened after you left, we're going to play a few clips from the actual documentary, and we're going to put you in these women's or these girls' place.
Okay.
And see how you would react.
Wearing
to
their
them.
stilettos.
Right. This is one of the most famous clips from the show. Everybody sort of knows this in pop culture. It's the Tyra Banks crash out. Here we go. Here's that clip.
Come in here and look at that and say, I can't read that. You read 10 times better than half of those girls over there.
And then to see her, like, just kind of giving up,
You come in here with a defeatist attitude. I don't have a bad attitude. Maybe I am angry inside. I've been through stuff, so I'm angry.
Yes, but this is not, be
But
quiet,
everybody
be
knows.
quiet!
never in my life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Tyra really scared all of us. Like, we literally jumped out of our seats. What is happening right now?
All right. So put yourself, how did you react to that when you saw it on the documentary?
When I remember the scene too from like the actual
Yeah, I was
cycle.
gonna say, did you watch it live?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember watching that cycle, and in the moment you don't think anything of it. I thought it was normal. Like, that's like, she's doing a good job. This is what
Right.
needs to be said. And then fast forward to me, auditioning and being casted, and then now watching that again, and then now you asking me to picture myself in those shoes. I immediately understood why, again, I got cut. I was like, I wouldn't have been able to take that at the time and the place that I was in my life. I
Even
wouldn't
just
have been
being 18. I mean,
being
having someone
18,
yell at you,
Yeah.
you're gonna.
it's abusive.
Yeah.
So then, and then when you're already reacting to a world around you, or you're feeling, some type of, the same way that girl said, I'm angry already inside. And she said that before Tyra freaked out on her. You know what I mean? And that was Tyra's reaction to that. We would have been like tumbling across the stage.
So were you angry at that point in your life? And if so, like, what were you angry about?
I was super angry. And what was I angry about? Nothing specific.
Craig said nobody fucked with you in high school. So I mean,
They didn't.
yeah.
They didn't.
And that's what I try to tell my mom now. I'm like,
Yeah.
But you were
I'm
really
like,
cool
dude,
and
I was-
respectful, and like you're a cool person. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I
just don't mess with me.
Yeah, causing shit in Spanish class and getting some laughs for fun. Yeah.
I was a little disruptor. I still am a disruptor, just in a more positive way, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of energy that I didn't really know how to like source that energy. And also, I don't know, high school is a weird place to be anyways. So like, either you define yourself as like this like authoritative figure, or you feel you're gonna get ran all over. And I was already thin, right? So I was like a little skinny penny person that people thought they could like pick on. And I was really quiet in elementary school. So high school was like my coming out of like, all right, don't mess with me. I'm not taking anything from anybody anymore. And this is like the awakening. The anger came from feeling disconnected from the area that I was growing up in. So even though I had a lot of friends and I was involved in like a lot of sports and activities, I was doing the modeling and traveling with my mom, I felt like culturally disconnected from the rest of the world. And my mom's is Jamaican, so I was first generation immigrant. So I also felt like I couldn't find my people, right? Like my group of people that understood the way that I was living and surviving through life. So I was just angry at the world.
Yeah, this area is predominantly white. It's not a very diverse area.
Exactly. And then you add in the factor of like being an immigrant on top of it,
Yes.
because even the people that look like you aren't as accepting towards you because you're not so much from there, right? And my side of the family, like my Persip side of the family, has long history here.
Yes.
So I was having an identity battle within myself of like, I'm here, I belong here, but also my mom's not from here, and I'm getting like bullied. It's not like even bullied, but people would just make little jokes.
You just didn't feel.
but
Yeah.
I just didn't
yeah.
feel connected, and I was like, why? Like, I had my friends tell me like, you're not black, you're Jamaican, and I'm like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
I'm experiencing the same things you are too. Like, and my mom's Jamaican, my dad's from Pittsfield.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So you're an immigrant, or your mom's an
My
immigrant?
my mom immigrated to the
Right.
U.S. Yeah. So
You
and
were
then I'm
born
first generation.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah.
You actually have the word woke tattooed on your arm.
Yeah, I meant to wear a shirt that I could show it, and then I
Yeah.
didn't. And I was like, man, I'm gonna have to send you a little picture. So you can
Yes.
add it in.
Because we were talking on the phone, like, because I obviously just want to get a gauge of where everyone is in their head, and it's like, I feel bad. Like, so one of the questions I have to ask is like, well, where do you like, where do you lean on the political spectrum?
Yeah.
like how screwed
your
up is
political
that?
spectrum, though, I feel like is like MAGA or woke. Like that's how you split it.
Yeah, I think I said to you, like, do you lean MAGA or woke? And it was like, you like, I have woke on my sleeve. I was like, oh, or my arm. I was like, oh, that's something we talk about. But you also told me on the phone that you lean conservative in like your views now.
Yes. Yeah, I tend to lean both ways. It
Yeah.
just depends on what the topic of the conversation is,
Yes.
which is why I believe that like politics in general and like in this day and age are very difficult to maneuver around because
agree, yeah.
people are so extreme on one side or the left, or even like circling back to Tyra, so extreme on like the way that they talk and communicate with somebody that they're not even accepting of another point of view, even though we all have like a similar agenda to get to like a better, unified world and country and whatever that looks like. But yes, I pulled away from the woke ideology mostly because of all of the things that started to be collected into that definition.
Like the silliness, like the goofiness of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the propaganda behind it.
Yeah,
So.
Yes.
and like nowadays, it's not, because I feel like being of a similar age, woke having that kind of stems and roots in like the hip hop community and being enlightened and just being woken up to the bullshit of the world.
Yes.
And then nowadays, if you say, like woke, the picture online is a blue-haired woman screaming and yelling, and that is woke. And it's like, so I totally get what you're saying
Yes.
with that, because that's the unfortunate part of it. Whereas like there's not, because like like when I like laugh when Slater will say like, are they woke? And I'm like, you kind of want to be woke. Like, I don't want to be asleep.
Of course, yeah. So yes, that's the definition I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, but
is
I
the
get-
blue hair, hypersensitive, and like, sort of, it's the goofiness and silliness, the perpetually offended, and the coddling of the sort of weak, and I don't know. That's sort of how I view. That's what woke has become.
That's what it's become.
But woke originally was right. You're awakening, or you're you're alert to injustice. And it really, that sort of came out. That came out of the Black community. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The word woke, and we stole it. And no, I mean,
As we do.
Like, what are we good for? Cultural appropriation. We stole it. No, I mean, it just sort of became what it is today.
Yes.
So
Well, it became an insult. I think it
became an insult,
It was,
yeah.
the best way, I think, and sometimes in those kinds of battles, to turn that word against, to turn woke as a weapon against the people, because now you can say it and people are, it used to be stay woke, and now it's, I'm not talking about politics for this guy.
Yeah. I know. So at what point did you become, or you started to lean more, like conservative?
So I don't like the word conservative or liberal. I would say I'm independent and I lean to the right now. Why did I start leaning to the right? I think because the overall left agenda.
You got disillusioned to it, because I feel like
You're like, what do I
I feel the same way as you, because I was
camera
very
on me. What do I say?
I've always maintained independence. I think socially, I'm more left. Fiscally and economically, I lean more right.
Thank you.
And I think you're a small business owner,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So as a fellow small business owner, you start to notice that stuff more once you get into that world, and you start to realize, like, Jesus, everything you do to try to make a little bit of money, you're getting dug back down because of all of the things that they've built against small businesses and stuff like that. So I totally, I recognize that.
And then we also are creating a population of people that are dependent on assistance, right?
yes.
So there are people that need help, and the people that actually really truly need the help is scarce now because they're not able to get that help because everybody is going after the help.
Yeah.
And then I get I could go on a tangent on this, but after I started tracking what the Democrats were spending money on, that's when I started to shift my views and what I was leaning towards, because I was like, overall as a country, and as a nation, as a community of all people together, we need to look at what's best for us and the citizens that are here, right? So, and then if we did that, how much money could we put back into our own country and our own pockets to then help us push forward? And then you help the other people,
And then you
right?
help the other, yeah.
But if you don't build your house first,
Yep.
you can't build a house for somebody else.
Yeah.
So
You're talking about immigration.
not even just immigration, just in. Okay, I'm just going to throw out one specific one. We sent maybe Keenyah millions of dollars for a drag show.
So what you're poking around at is USAID or
Yes.
USAID. It's not even US. It's just the acronym just happens to spell USAID. It really is just money we're sending, and that sort of was what Elon was doing with Doge. he was
cleaning up a lot
he
of.
was talking about waste and fraud.
trim the fat,
and, right.
essentially. And
The problem is he promised like $2 trillion in savings. I think it was like ended up being $1 million or whatever. But
Tried.
yeah, exactly. He tried anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna save you $2 trillion. It actually turned out to be $1 million. But anyway, that's a big swing, Elon.
when you hang out with Trump long enough, you start exaggerating.
Yeah,
you know?
you start to believe that.
So that's interesting. So what does your mom feel about, like, 'cause she immigrated came to the country legally?
She came to the country legally.
Yeah.
So she came for school, and then she went back home to Jamaica, and then came back on a visa, and worked through her citizenship. But and my mom is extremely Democratic, so I was raised in a Democratic home,
Yes.
a Democratic family.
Yeah, I was too.
And even when I registered to vote when I was 18 and I was going on to America's Next Top Model, I registered as an independent. Like, I always knew that I was going to be independent, and I always knew that I could see both sides of the wings of the bird. That's like how I put it earlier today. There's one bird and you got two wings, but both wings are going to have to fly the same bird, right?
Yes, of course, yeah.
So you have to understand the benefits of both sides without being biased. So that's why I say I'm leaning right, but I'm not biased to either party, because I can sit in a room with either and have discussions
Absolutely.
and not disagree and or wholly agree as well. So
Yeah, no, I mean I think that's the way it has to be. It's like Democrat and Republican became like dirty words, and now we got to find this like safe word like independent, which is in the middle. Because I think most people do sort of feel like this, collective here, where most people are purple.
Oh yeah, most people are probably more independent than
know.
they wouldn't want to admit or even realize. But
Yeah, no, totally. So I want to play. I wanted to get your reaction to another part of the documentary where Tyra actually came up with the idea that they do an ad for Got Milk, and they race swapped with blackface the contestants. Here's the clip.
The immediate moment of divide was the race swapping photo shoot, and that was in cycle 4. I remember vividly that meeting where Tyra said, I want to do this to celebrate women of color. I was here to support her. This was her show. She had this reason that made no sense to me. How are you going to support and uplift women of color by painting white women black? But I took my co-executive producer to the side after the meeting was over, and I said, there is no way I can do this shoot. And Tyra swore to me I would not wear this. She goes, Jay, I would never do this to you. The clip that has followed me to this day is me standing alone on camera. We're switching your ethnicities. If she really wanted to protect me, she would have stood next to me and delivered that creative with the girls, and she could have, but I had to wear it. And that was the moment I realized I was going to do my job to the best of my ability, and when my cycles were up, I would gracefully say thank you, and I'm done. So I planned it starting there.
yeah, I think she 100% knew what she was doing, and that's why she wasn't up there with him, and that's why she did not give them that assignment.
do you remember watching this live? Did you see this one live?
I don't remember this portion, but I think because it wasn't as dramatic, so like that yelling scene, and even like there's a few other scenes that I like I could remember even before I watched the documentary and had like the reminder. This I remember the pictures. I don't remember feeling uncomfortable about it. I don't remember seeing an issue with it, but I was also very young at the time.
You're young and you probably don't realize,
And I would actually have to ask my mom how she felt about it, because we'd watch it together. But I don't remember her having a reaction to it either, because if she did, we would have spoke about it, and I probably have that memory. But I think that throughout the entirety of that, she knew what she was doing, and she knew what she was doing to even those girls, like those women that she put into blackface. She knew the way that she was making them feel as well, because it was almost like a white guilt type of thing there.
Yeah.
And then she removed herself from it and let it just hang on him.
Yeah.
So,
is he white?
Yeah.
I can't quite see him.
Hispanic.
Yeah, he's white.
I think he's Hispanic.
Oh,
is he?
I'm
All
sorry.
right.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, he is.
I guess
Hispanic.
I don't know either.
Wow. So she was right, all the while making them feel uncomfortable, but sort of like how, this is how now you know how it feels, and then wanting the attention through the media. So it was like there was many layers to that.
Yes, but then also I think she even knew like this is probably an uncomfortable topic, so I'm going to remove myself from it as well. You know, so when
Cover
there
your
is
ass.
backlash
Yeah.
and hate on it, it's not the video is not of me.
Yeah, it
doing
wasn't her
it,
idea.
right?
Right. Let's play another clip. This is from this was one of the biggest apologies from the documentary where Tyra apologizes to Keenyah in South Africa for someone, a dancer, putting their hands on her, which she was claiming sexual harassment, but I think they blew it off. Here's the clip.
I was trying to empower her with the information that I had to say, you tell him to back up and da-da-da, don't be messing up my You know, that's kind of what I was saying, not verbatim, because I felt like that was empowering her based on the information that I had. I thought that was the best advice, but it should have been stop down. And that's what would happen today. We now all understand the protections that women need. And so I say to Keenyah, boo-boo, I am so sorry. None of us knew. Network executives didn't know. And I did the best that I could at that time, but she deserved more. She did.
Do you hear the insincerity in her voice? What's your reaction on that?
What I hear when she says that is, this is what's happening and this is what happens in this business. Like, that's what the apology sounds like to me. Like, you know, none of us noticed. None of us, you know, even knew this was happening, because maybe it happens so often that it's
You've
not a
just learned
flag
you're
to you.
jaded to it.
Yeah,
You turn a
exactly.
blind eye.
And then I also just think like this entire documentary was a way for Tyra to get herself back in the front of publicity.
Yeah, to get talked about again. Yeah.
And then she had to apologize, and it almost looks like it's painful for her to apologize. And I don't know if that's just her facial expressions now or if it's actually like hurting her, but outside of just not sounding sincere, when she's speaking and you're watching her in the video, she doesn't, it seems like a rehearsed act that she's annoyed she has to say.
She agreed to do the documentary, but she had no control over the production. This was done by a different production team. So she had all the control over America's Next Top Model, the show,
yes,
but she had no control over this. So she sat down and did this, and then that was it.
But I'm sure they gave her the questions and whatever the topics were before, so that she could, like, you know, rehearse herself before she got on there. And
why do you think there's so much rage to this documentary, and how do you feel about Tyra as a person?
I think that Tyra could have publicly apologized, like, over the years. She knew she was wrong, so it shouldn't have taken to this getting this documentary out to make a public apology.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going with that. I think that this point of her being on the documentary was more publicity than actually being like a sincere reason to apologize. It's like, oh, I actually have a gig to do. You know, I got something to do right now, so let me go do this. But I do think that the way that she produced the show, it was like a Barbie playhouse for her. And these girls, they weren't people; they were objects. They were a part of, her creating her brand.
Do you feel like that world is like the modeling world? Is it a scary world?
I would say it could be, and anything could be scary, right?
Yeah, of course.
I wanted to ask, but I didn't want a clarification, but I wanted to ask harassment. Have you ever been put in a situation like that?
That's kind of what I was leaning into with that, because I mean,
with a shoot, like a male puts their hands on you or anything like that you've had to say, buddy, you know, like, step off?
No, mostly because I always have people with me, so I'm not in a situation where I'm totally exposed, right? Where there's not some type of safety around me. And if I had been casted, I would have been probably put into a situation like that. I do know other, like, friends of mine that are models that are more professional models, like, they're doing it regularly, and they have been in very scary situations. Even on the documentary, if, you know, the viewers watch the full documentary, there's portions of that documentary where they discuss, like, other things that have happened throughout the cycles on the show. So I think it's something that happens often, but not that I can specifically say. But as a woman, you have to be careful in any situation because it's not just modeling where you're in positions that could turn to something that's uncomfortable. And it's drawing on the line of, the harassment. So
I did want to play another clip. This one has to do with appearance. This is where a contestant has a gap in her teeth, and Tyra wants her to get rid of that because that's not going to work apparently if you're...
That's why I lost my modeling gig.
One season that she got a gap created in a girl's mouth. Girl, that is absolutely ridiculous. What?
I've actually apologized for the issue with Danny and what happened. That was between a rock and a hard place for me because there were agents that would tell me she will not work with those teeth. It's just not going to happen. That's what they told me. And again, I could have just been quiet and let them handle it. But that's hindsight is 2020 for all of us. It just so happens that a lot of the things that are 2020 for me happened in front of the world.
Bull fucking shit. Me getting my gap closed is not opening any doors for me. You knew what you were doing for the show. You were making good for TV at my expense.
Has anyone ever had or suggested that you change your appearance to look more, I don't know, marketable or?
No. For shoots, they will change your appearance like in smaller ways, like hair, makeup, even in more extreme ways. Like they have some extreme makeup artists that could add in like, I don't know, vampire teeth or even close a gap, but not to the point where you're doing it long term, like cosmetic surgery. No. And that's also why I think it was like a dollhouse for her because I don't seriously think agencies would be requesting for, like if they didn't want to hire a girl with a gap, they won't hire a girl with a gap, but there will be agencies that would hire a girl with a gap, right? And there's so many agencies globally, so.
If you had a gap in your teeth and they asked you to close it, would you?
No, not if I liked my gap.
I was gonna say, I feel like nowadays, fashion and stuff and modeling has opened up for like all that kind of stuff. Like you see models with gaps in the teeth. You see models with the skin. I don't know what the term is there, where they have the skin discoloration.
Yeah, like Winnie Harlow.
Yes. And you see all these things and they get celebrated and supported more than I'm sure they would have probably back in like 2005.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's like that whole, I don't know, the wave of that's like accepting who you are, your body size, your body type. There's short models now. There's, tall models that are like 6'8" women that are, that would normally not be, they would be like playing basketball, not doing high fashion modeling, and they're doing runway shows now. But the thing about the documentary and like not the documentary itself, but America's Next Top Model is like, if you watch the show, she had that contestant change her gap and remove the gap. And then you fast forward 2 cycles and she had
someone widen their teeth, right?
Had somebody widen their teeth. So it just didn't make sense. So if the objection was like, we are removing your gap because like nobody's going to want to hire you with a gap, then why 2 seasons later were you putting a gap in someone's mouth? Right? It didn't make sense because it was just whatever mental health issues or whatever she had going on was reflected out onto these women.
Tyra, you're saying Tyra projected her own bullshit onto these.
Exactly. Like how that girl said bullshit, bullshit. Yeah.
Well, that was the way it was back then. All right, get over it. Okay, now gaps are in style. Get out of here. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, do you feel continued pressure to look like a model as you get older? You said you're a mom now. You're a successful realtor. What does that look like for you? Like in today, like 13
today,
years after because 13 years ago after your cycle 20.
Has it been 13 years?
Oh, it's 2026, and this was in 2013. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't do that. Yeah. You don't have to do that math here.
Yeah, I know. Really. I mean, this was 40 years ago. I mean, how are you doing it now? I mean,
So I still do a lot of modeling gigs
Yeah.
here and there, and I do castings. Like when I see something that like I'm interested in, I'll do a casting. But the question was, am I focused on like looking like a model?
Like,
Is the pressure always there
Yes.
to look good? Like, can you leave the house in sweats? And
Yeah, I leave this house in sweats all the time.
Yeah.
But also doing real estate, I like applied that to real estate. So I'm like, when people are like, "Oh, do you model?" and I'm like, "Yeah, I model for my own business. I'm my
Yeah.
own brand, and I love it."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, I can hire a photographer and like walk around with like take pictures all day, and I'm still modeling.
Yeah, kind of a smart way to combine those two because they
the
actually
passions.
bleed together
Yes.
very well when you think about the modeling aspect. As a
Right.
realtor, you're taking so many pictures, and you have to get a picture of yourself on the
Headshots,
benches,
yeah.
and
this is the living room. Okay.
and this,
Yeah.
This is the window.
This is the kitchen. Okay. We could put some marble in here, all right? If you have a little bit more money. Yeah. So, and you speak too, huh? Like you speak in, what do you speak about and who do you speak to?
So who do I speak to? I'm speaking to different groups of different people, right? Recently I was on a panel with a group of women investors for real estate investing. And we were also speaking to another group of women investors. And I also was able to be a judge on their panel pitch. So they had people pitching investment projects and I was able to help judge on that. And then recently, so the last 3 events I've done were all women events. I was just thinking about it. Those were all women events, but all for different like subjects. One was more like a faith-based, Becoming Her motivational women's event, and the other one was a Berkshire County like local event, which was with the Inner Circle, and that was a panel again speaking to women as women entrepreneurs and what it's like navigating life and business at the same time, and then actively like looking towards doing speaking engagements with the schools, so high schools, specifically senior classes, about overcoming adversities, or like building mindset and how everything starts first within your mind, right? So even envisioning yourself, your future, whatever you're going to do, you have to define that within your mind and then build it out from whatever that is. If you don't believe that you can do it, you're not going to be able to do it. So just like reprogramming their mindsets is like what I'm looking. That's my goal. That's what I'm going after right now. But I'm taking on all the speaking gigs that I get. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't, you have to imagine it first, right? Like I, as a kid, imagined myself being on the radio.
Yeah, you got to picture
you
it.
just sort of like manifest it.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't do that, and if you believe that you can't do that, then it won't happen.
Yeah. That's like,
know.
that's what I try to tell people. I'm like,
Yes.
if you say like, I can't, run down the block, you're never going to run down the block.
yeah.
You just can't do it.
My favorite, one of my favorite rappers, KRS-One, used to fall asleep with headphones of crowd cheering, and
Oh, that's phenomenal.
and like and like so that way he would, every night I would imagine that crowd cheering for me, and then till you get there. So it's manifestation.
That's a good
definitely,
one, yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
works.
You got to do it.
You said 4 months after getting the rejection, you then run into the person from America's Got Talent.
One of the judges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that leads to kind of all the opportunities you got from, or like you got opportunities from that.
I did get opportunities from
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And then I think I was on contract with them for a year. So I got a few gigs, like photo shoots. I did a few runway shows with them as well.
Yeah.
And they were like all paid gigs. So that was like huge. And I was to my friends, you go work 5 hours and you get paid like $5,000.
Was it, were you literally like, it was just somewhere in public?
Yeah. So my mom and I got into an argument in Grand Central Station. I walked out Grand Central Station and I was going back to Times Square because you're 18 and you just do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
I was like, forget you, I'll catch my own train. I don't need you. And I like left. And then I hear somebody like yelling. And so I turn around and him and like another person are chasing after me across the crosswalk. And they're like, are you a model? Take our information. My phone was dead. And I was like, my mom's like in Grand Central Station. Like, will you guys like come with me to like get my mom? Like so immature. I was 18 at the time.
Yeah. We got rid of the CORI. It's all, the charges have been dropped. It's all good now. Oh my God.
Did that feel like like a manifestation, like, so you get the rejection and then maybe you have this kind of like revelation of like, hey, if I really want to do this, I need to change trajectory. And then you have that. Does that feel kind of like a manifestation of like, okay, wait,
Right.
this can happen?
I think it shows to manifestation, but more to like tenacity, because all the times that I've hit a wall in life, instead of like sorrowing in it, right, I just push through it and then go on. So I was cut, and then I was like, okay, let's go to New York City. We're gonna go to like meet with these like agencies, but me and my mom ended up arguing, and it was like drama. We only went to like one agency. I didn't get anything from them. We're heading home, and I bump into him. So it was like I was in New York City. I don't remember if that time we were there just hanging out, or if we were there for that event. But I mean, for that agency meeting. But I was still actively like every other weekend going to New York City and Boston to like do castings and stuff like that after getting cut from America's Next Top Model.
All right, Harmony Edwards-Persip. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, you bet.
That was great.